The first one was focused on connecting everything. The second one was on everyone, and now we get to talk about every place, which is focused on transforming industries by making connected location solutions available every place. And this one's going to be a little bit more focused sort of on the solutions part. The last one a little bit more on the revenue piece. The first one was a little bit more on sort of connecting various devices. And to moderate this session, we have Dr. Phil Hendrix, who is the founder and director of the Institute for Mobile Markets Research, a company that's based in Atlanta that helps companies better interpret and understand and capitalize on opportunities presented by disruptive technologies. He's, like myself, a longtime consultant. He was with Diamond Cluster International, Mercer Management Consulting, and has also taught at the University of Michigan and Emory. So, Dr. Hendrix, are you here?
I am.
All right, welcome on up.
Thank you, Mark.
Nice to meet you, and take the
Good to meet
panel
you.
away.
Very good, thanks so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to ask my panelists to come up and join me. Delighted to be here. It sounds like you've had a great program today. We're looking forward to continuing and having good dialogue. We've got a distinguished group of panelists who could have spent perhaps the whole day talking with you about topics that are of interest to you, but certainly to us as well. But we're going to try and focus on opportunities and give you a sense not only of where we think we are, but where we might go over the next 12 to 18 months and beyond. And I think you'll find the discussion quite interesting. I've got some prepared questions that we're going to talk about, but I'd encourage you to both chime in, raise your hand if you have questions related to a topic that we're discussing or want to move us in another direction. Don't wait until the end of the session. I know it's late in the day, but we'll try and keep the energy level up as well. So I'm going to ask my panelists to introduce themselves, and if you would not only tell us who you are. I was doing a panel last week, and I asked the panelists to introduce themselves, and they went down and to a person simply introduced themselves by name. It was the shortest introduction I've ever experienced. So if you would, tell us why you're here.
Okay. So Biren Patel, I'm the Director of Product Development and Integration at Verizon Wireless. And I have the responsibility for all the location-based services as well as social networking. So we have a bunch of Verizon branded applications that I manage. We also expose a bunch of our network technologies that result in location through handset APIs and network APIs. So my team is involved in all of that.
Very good. Thanks, Biren.
Thank you, Will. My name is Vivek Chhabra. I manage the mobile business unit for Marvell Semiconductor. We are a technology provider for cellular as well as for emerging technologies from different areas for cellular markets, tablets, panels, all different areas we're working on. As part of my job, I'm here is to also provide our insight into what we are doing to bring in the location-based services to lower masses of the cellular products.
Very good. Thank you. Ashu?
My name is Ashu Pande. I'm with CSR. I'm looking after the infrastructure services side of the business. Here we're looking at how to, first of all, create location and then how to make it easy for application developers to use that location, or as we call, consume that location. If you look at it, prime reason for being here, every place, what does that mean to us? Every place is one, moving from outdoors to indoors. And the other every place is how do we go from the developed countries to emerging markets and provide location experience in those markets.
Very good. Thank you. Antti?
Yeah, Antti Korhonen, the president and CEO of Ekahau Incorporation. Ekahau is a 10-year-old company in the RTLS market, real-time location system market, which market is focusing on the enterprise businesses to enable them to see to have a visibility real time to the assets and people in the building, floor and room accuracy. And Ekahau's innovation here is that we were the first ones back in 2002 introducing the location server based on the Wi-Fi signals. So in any business out there, especially hospitals today, you can use your Wi-Fi network to enable real-time asset and people tracking also indoors.
All right, very good. Great introductions. Let me ask a general question. Some would say that the last decade has been about location. This is a set of applications market that has been developing for quite some time. Why has it taken so long, and where are we today in terms of what's driving, enabling this market that's different from, say, even 3-5 years ago? What's unique about this point in time, and are you optimistic that we're in a takeoff mode with respect to location?
Yeah, so from our side, when location came about in around 2005, we kind of solved the tougher problem first. We had VZ Navigator, which was providing turn-by-turn navigation, and we went to market with that. At that time, there were lots of concerns around privacy and how to manage that. And over time, as LBS has evolved and as users' understanding of LBS has matured, I think some of these concerns have been reduced. And so I think we are at this point, we are at a situation where, lots of consumer applications are pretty much taking off. They're using location, to enable their apps, and, in a context that is relevant to them. And I think that's what has caused, a lot of, deployment and wide adoption of LBS in various applications.
So in addition to user acceptance, more apps integrating location, what are some of the other enabling, triggering factors that really are causing location to take off? Others?
Yeah, I think in the early stage, we were looking at location, and we were talking about location being the application, and the whole term of LBS, right? Location-based services was essentially what we looked at, and we looked at it as vertical. In the recent years, what has happened is instead of that vertical, and earlier on there was some discussions in the panels about the fact that location is now gone horizontal. And so really, it's about location-enabled services, right? And you just mentioned location enablement. And I think that's one of the key drivers. So instead of looking at location as the experience, we are now talking about how location is actually enabling the various experiences people are having. And the ease of use, the having that platform available to the application developers to easily enable their application. It's not that they have to write a new application. It's like taking the existing application they have and then enabling a location experience to the existing application. That is really the key, and that's now being available. I mean, Verizon's recent announcement about making this API available, that's that step where now you can take your existing application and location enable it.
All right, very good. Anything the two of you would add to that?
I think just to add to what Biren said, Ashu said, and also Biren said, that the cost of bringing this location services down to a level which can be consumed by the devices and to be a project, that is also a very critical part of it. And if you can see that most of the location-based services information is also being bring up at the API level, will be also brought up into the operating systems and the next generation of operating systems as well, much more consumed in there. But the key thing is still restricted to the smartphone level by and large. I think the key is going to be that once it brings to the much more lower levels, or we bring down the cost of smartphones to lower levels as well, there's much more penetration of location-based services at a wider level, which will generate much more different interesting business models for retailers and other guys to be able to address that.
Interesting. So I want to come back in just a moment and ask, what's it going to take to drive location beyond smartphones to feature phones and the mass market, if you will? But let's come back to that in just a moment. Antti?
Yeah, RTLS market, the way we are playing, is primarily driven by enterprise applications. And in enterprise world, the big question always is, what is the ROI and what is the problem we are solving there and what's the benefit? And over the 10 years of this market, I would say that last 2 to 3 years' time, we have seen a big change in the market situation and going more towards mainstream, meaning that, for example, in the hospital market, hospital CIOs, they now understand what is the benefit and ROI in using indoor location. And for example, in their case, you're understanding the asset utilization for their 5,000 assets in the hospital, staff safety, and having the visibility all their processes. So that understanding on what are the problems they can solve with RTLS is now in the level that every hospital CIO understands that. So that is really good for the market, and the adoption is really fast at the moment. So.
In addition, in the vertical markets there on the enterprise side, in addition to understanding ROI, are there other technological enablers that have appeared within the last 2 to 3 years that have, again, accelerated the growth of that market?
In our market, the primary technology that is really enabling all this is Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is there already in place. It's like indoor GPS, so you can use Wi-Fi signals for also for data and voice, and now also for location. So that's been the enabler. So, but in the last, I would say 2 to 3 or 5 years, there are no big breakthrough innovations to make this happen. But it's mainly the market market curve going to towards mainstream that the people understand what's the benefit here. So.
We touched on a couple of next areas where we might see breakthroughs, extending these capabilities to feature phones, extending these capabilities to markets outside of well-developed markets like the US. Talk about some of those and give us a sense of what's coming over the next couple of years. Any of you who wish to start with that?
I can take that. A couple of areas. So if you look at it, every place, as I said, one is how do you go from the street to inside the building, right? And Wi-Fi is one of the steps. The interesting thing is that when we move from an enterprise use case to consumer use case, consumers don't want to understand technology. They don't say, give me GPS. They say, give me an experience of presence. They don't even say, give me location. So to give that experience of presence, you require a certain level of accuracy to be associated with that presence. Otherwise, the consumer is unforgiving, right? They want it for free, but they want it to work everywhere, every place. And so to do that, we look at other technologies coming in, sensor-based technology coming in, complementing with Wi-Fi, with cells. So really it's about how do you get location everywhere that people are going to be. Once you have that, then from there you say, okay, how are you going to give that experience to the person so that you have isolated this location into presence, right? And that is where I think systems need to be developed. Earlier we were talking about, I think it was the speaker from Oracle who was talking about the fact that there's this data mining that needs to happen, and then from there picking the context or pulling the context out and then using that context in a much friendly way. I think those are the areas where the experience has to happen. We have to really move from what many people say, okay, GPS is a sensor, to really a platform. And as we move from the sensor to a platform, that is where the experience is going to increase, the ease of use will come down, and the market will take off.